I told a billionaire CEO to go to hell. In an elevator. After being rejected from a job at his company, while he was standing right next to me. That was 3 months ago, and now I'm his chief operating officer, making $500,000 a year, running day-to-day operations for a company worth $2 billion. All because I couldn't keep my mouth shut. Let me explain how the worst day of my life became the best thing that ever happened to me. My name is Maya Chen. I'm 28 years old, MBA from Columbia. 5 years of experience in corporate strategy consulting, fluent in 3 languages, excellent references, and I'd just been rejected from my dream job. Thank you for your time, Ms. Chen. The head of HR, a woman with a frozen smile and dead eyes, slid my portfolio back across the polished conference table. Unfortunately, we don't feel you're the right fit for Pierce Industries at this time. I'd sat through 2 hours of interviews, answered every question perfectly, presented my strategic analysis of their Asian market expansion, shown exactly how I could add value, and she was dismissing me with corporate speak that meant absolutely nothing. May I ask why? I kept my voice professional. Calm, even though I wanted to scream. We're looking for someone with more traditional experience. Translation: you're too young, too female, too Asian, too something we won't say out loud because it's illegal. I'd heard versions of this before. At other companies, other interviews. Always the same polite rejection wrapped in vague reasoning. I have 5 years at McKinsey, I said carefully. I've led projects worth hundreds of millions. My recommendations increased client revenue by an average of 34%. What specific experience am I lacking? The HR woman's smile tightened. We appreciate your qualifications, Ms. Chen, but Mr. Pierce prefers candidates with a certain profile. Mr. Pierce, Alexander Pierce, the 35-year-old CEO who'd built Pierce Industries from a small tech startup to a $2 billion empire in less than a decade. Forbes 30 under 30, one of New York's most eligible bachelors, and apparently someone who didn't hire women like me. I stood, gathered my materials, shook hands with the 3-person interview panel. Thank you for your time. I smiled, professional to the end, even though inside I was burning. The elevator. I made it to the elevator before the professional mask started cracking. Pierce Industries occupied floors 42 through 50 of a glass tower in Midtown Manhattan. The interview had been on 45. I jabbed the lobby button harder than necessary. The doors started to close. A hand shot through. Stopped them. A man stepped in. Tall, early 30s, expensive suit that probably cost more than my rent. Dark hair, sharp jawline, the kind of face that belonged in a cologne ad. He pressed the button for the penthouse level. 50th floor, executive suites. We stood in silence, him on his phone, me staring at the descending floor numbers. 45, 44, 43. My phone buzzed, text from my roommate Sarah. How'd it go? I typed back, rejected. Not the right fit, again. Fuck them, their loss. Easy for her to say. Sarah was a graphic designer, freelance. She could work from anywhere. She didn't need corporate approval. I did. I had $120,000 in student loans. Rent on an apartment I couldn't really afford. A mother in California who'd sacrificed everything to put me through school. And I was running out of opportunities. This was my 5th interview rejection in 2 months. 42, 41, 40. The elevator was descending agonizingly slowly. The man next to me was still on his phone. Business call. Talking about quarterly projections, market share. His voice had that casual confidence of someone who'd never been rejected from anything in his life. My jaw clenched. Can you push 38? A woman's voice from the back of the elevator. I glanced back. An administrative assistant had gotten on at 43. She was juggling coffee cups and a box of files. The man didn't look up from his phone. Excuse me, the woman tried again. Can someone press 38? He kept talking. I'm completely oblivious. I reached over and pressed 38 for her. Thank you, she whispered gratefully. The man finally hung up, looked at his watch. A Patek Philippe. $80,000 easy. Some people had everything handed to them. The assistant got off at 38. The doors closed. Now it was just me and Mr. Expensive Suit. 35, 34, 33. Long day? He asked suddenly. I glanced at him. He was looking at me for the first time. Dark eyes. Assessing. You could say that? Interview? I stiffened. How did you know? He gestured at my portfolio. Pierce Industries logo, professional clothes. You look like you want to murder someone. Either interview or firing. Interview. I turned back to the floor numbers. Didn't go well? That's an understatement. What position? Strategic Operations Manager. And I was told I'm not the right fit. Despite being overqualified, but they won't tell me why. He was quiet for a moment. Maybe you weren't overqualified. Maybe you just think you were. I spun to face him. Excuse me? I'm just saying, corporate positions require more than a good resume. There's culture fit, personality, ability to take direction. Take direction? My voice rose slightly. You mean obey without question? I mean work as part of a team. Not everyone with an Ivy League MBA is actually good at their job. The elevator descended past 30. My hands clenched around my portfolio. This condescending asshole. This privileged prick who probably got every job he ever applied for because of family connections or his Harvard frat brothers. Let me guess, I said. You work here, upper management, VP of something. You got the job because your father knew someone. Or you went to the right school. Or you're buddies with the CEO. His expression didn't change. Something like that. Of course. I laughed bitterly. That's how it always works, isn't it? The people who deserve opportunities get rejected. The people with connections get everything handed to them. You think you deserve the job? I know I did. I could have transformed their Asian market strategy, increased revenue by at least 40%, but they're not interested in actual talent. They want someone who fits their narrow, outdated profile of what success looks like. 25, 24, 23. Maybe, he said slowly. They wanted someone with less attitude. I turned to him fully. Attitude? Having standards is attitude now? And expecting to be judged on merit instead of arbitrary bias? Expecting special treatment because you have a fancy degree, that's attitude. I don't expect special treatment, I expect equal treatment. Everyone thinks they're the exception. Everyone thinks they're smarter than the system. Most of them are wrong. And you would know? I crossed my arms. Let me guess your story. Private school, Ivy League, father's company or family money. You've never had to fight for anything in your life. You don't know anything about me. I know your type. I've met 1,000 of you. You think hard work means playing golf with clients. You think merit means having the right last name. The elevator was slowing. 20, 19, 18. You're making a lot of assumptions, he said calmly. Am I wrong? He looked at me. Really looked at me. Something shifted in his expression. What's your name? Why do you care? Because I want to know who just told me off in my own elevator. My stomach dropped. Your elevator? The doors opened. Lobby level. He stepped out. Turned back. Alexander Pierce, CEO. Nice to meet you. The doors started to close. I stood there. Frozen. Oh my God. Oh my God. I just told the CEO of Pierce Industries that he was a privileged, out-of-touch asshole who got his position through connections instead of merit. To his face. In his elevator. After being rejected from his company. The doors closed completely, and I started laughing. Hysterical, disbelieving laughter. Because what else could I do? I just nuked any chance of ever working in corporate New York. The phone call? I made it home to my apartment in Queens around 7 p.m. Now Sarah was cooking pasta. She took one look at my face. That bad? Worse. I dropped my bag, collapsed on the couch. I told off a CEO. Which CEO? Alexander Pierce. Sarah's wooden spoon clattered into the pot. The Alexander Pierce? Pierce Industries Alexander Pierce? Billionaire Bachelor Forbes list Alexander Pierce? That would be the one. What did you do? I recounted the entire elevator disaster. Sarah's eyes got wider with each detail. Maya, oh my God, what were you thinking? I wasn't. I thought he was just some random VP. He didn't say who he was. So you called him privileged and out of touch to his face. Yes. And accused him of getting his position through connections instead of merit. Yes. Maya. Sarah sat down next to me. You're aware he's literally famous for building his company from nothing, right? His parents died when he was 22. He started Pierce Industries in his apartment with $10,000 in savings. He's the opposite of a trust fund baby. I put my head in my hands. I'm aware of that now. Wikipedia was very informative. You didn't even Google him before the interview? I was researching the company, not stalking the CEO. This is bad. I know. Like, career-ending bad. I know. Sarah handed me a glass of wine. On the bright side, you'll never have to see him again. Small comfort. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but it could be another interview callback. Hello? Ms. Chen? A woman's voice, professional. This is Jennifer Kim, executive assistant to Mr. Alexander Pierce. Mr. Pierce would like to schedule a meeting with you. I choked on my wine. I'm sorry, what? Tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. His office, 50th floor. Is this about the elevator? Mr. Pierce didn't specify the agenda. Should I confirm your attendance? Yes, I'll be there. Excellent. Security will be expecting you. She hung up. I stared at my phone. Sarah looked at me. What? He wants to meet with me tomorrow. To fire you? You don't even work there. To sue me? Can you sue someone for calling you privileged? I don't think that's a thing. I spent the rest of the night Googling, can CEOs sue people for insults, and getting increasingly paranoid. 9 a.m., the penthouse office. The 50th floor of Pierce Industries was pure executive intimidation. Glass walls, marble floors, art that probably cost more than my education. A receptionist with a headset directed me to a seating area. Mr. Pierce is finishing a call. He'll be with you shortly. I sat, waited, tried not to panic. At 9:15, his office door opened. Alexander Pierce stepped out. He looked different than he had in the elevator. Less cologne ad, more actual human. Still expensive suit, still sharp features, but there was intelligence in his eyes that I'd missed before. Ms. Chen, thank you for coming. Did I have a choice? Everyone has a choice. He gestured to his office. Shall we? I followed him in. His office was enormous. Corner suite, panoramic views of Manhattan, minimalist furniture, a desk that probably cost more than a car. He sat, gestured for me to sit across from him. I'll be direct, he said. You insulted me yesterday. I'm aware, and I apologize. Don't. He held up a hand. Don't apologize. You meant every word. I closed my mouth. You called me privileged. Out of touch. Said I got my position through connections instead of merit. In my defense, I didn't know who you were. Would it have mattered? I thought about it. Probably not. I was angry. About the interview rejection. Yes. Why did that make you angry? Because I'm tired of being told I'm not the right fit when I'm clearly qualified. I'm tired of vague rejections that are probably code for, we don't hire women who look like you in leadership roles. You think that's why you were rejected? What else would it be? He leaned back, studied me. Tell me about your McKinsey experience. Why? Humor me. So I did. Talked about the projects I'd led, the clients I'd advised, the results I'd delivered. He listened, asked questions, smart questions, questions that showed he actually understood corporate strategy. But after 20 minutes, he stood, walked to the window. Your interview panel said you were overqualified. That's a polite way of saying, no. He turned. They meant it literally. You're too good for the strategic operations manager position. You'd be bored in 6 months. I blinked. Then why reject me? Because we didn't have a better position open at the time. He paused. We do now. What position? Chief Operating Officer. I laughed. It came out more hysterical than I'd intended. You're joking. I don't joke about executive appointments. I'm 28. I've never been a COO. I yelled at you in an elevator. You're 28 with 5 years at one of the world's top consulting firms. You have exactly the skills I need. And you yelled at me because you have a backbone, which is rare in corporate yes men. This is insane. This is business. He pulled a folder from his desk, slid it across to me. Employment contract, COO of Pierce Industries, $500,000 base salary, performance bonuses up to $200,000 annually, full benefits, starting immediately. I opened the folder, stared at the numbers. Why? Because yesterday, in that elevator, you said you could transform our Asian market strategy and increase revenue by 40%. I spent last night reviewing our Asian operations. You're right. We're leaving money on the table. I need someone who can see that. Someone who won't just agree with me because I'm the CEO. You're offering me COO because I insulted you? I'm offering you COO because you're brilliant, qualified, and not afraid to speak truth to power. As the insults were just proof of the last part. I looked at the contract again. $500,000, plus bonuses. It was insane. It was impossible. It was everything I'd worked for. I need to think about it. You have until noon. He walked back to his desk. My assistant will show you out. I stood, walked to the door, turned back. Why do you really want me? He looked up, met my eyes. Because everyone else who walks into this office tells me what they think I want to hear. You told me the truth, even when it was stupid to do so. That's the kind of person I need beside me. I left his office in a daze. The decision. I called Sarah from the lobby. He offered me COO. What? Chief Operating Officer, $500,000 base, plus bonuses. Maya, what the hell? I know. That's insane. That's amazing. Wait, why do you sound uncertain? Because this is Alexander Pierce, billionaire, Forbes list, one of the most eligible bachelors in New York. So? So what if this is some kind of game? What if he's interested in me and this is his way of what? Hiring you for $500,000? Maya, if a billionaire wants to date you, he doesn't need to offer you a fake job. He could just ask you out. Maybe. There's no maybe. You're overthinking this. He saw talent. He made an offer. Take the damn job. What if I fail? What if you succeed? I sat on a bench outside the building, watched people stream past, everyone rushing somewhere, Everyone trying to make it in this impossible city. How many of them would kill for this opportunity? How many of them had the chance I was being handed? At 11:47 a.m., I walked back into Pierce Industries. He took the elevator to the 50th floor. Jennifer, his assistant, smiled. "He's expecting you." I walked into his office. Alexander was on a call. He held up one finger, mouthed 1 minute. I sat, waited. He finished the call, looked at me. "Well?" I slid the signed contract across his desk. "When do I start?" He smiled. Actually smiled. It transformed his face from intimidating to almost warm. "Monday, 8 a.m. Jennifer will set up your office and coordinate with HR. I have questions. I'd be concerned if you didn't. Why COO specifically? Why not a director role? VP? Because I don't need more VPs. I need a partner. Someone who can run operations while I focus on strategy and growth. Someone I can trust to execute vision. You don't know me well enough to trust me. I know enough. Your McKinsey record speaks for itself. And more importantly, you're not afraid of me. That's rare and valuable. Plenty of people aren't afraid of you. Plenty of people pretend not to be. You genuinely don't care about my money or my position. You care about the work. That's what I need." I studied him. He was right about one thing. I didn't care about his billions. Money didn't impress me. Results did. "I have conditions," his eyebrow raised. "You're negotiating after signing?" "I'm clarifying expectations." "Go ahead." 1. I answer to you, but I have full autonomy over operations. If you hire me to do a job, let me do it. Agreed. 2. I'm not a yes person. If I think you're wrong about something, I'll tell you. That's not a condition. That's a requirement. 3. This is professional. Strictly professional. I'm not interested in anything else. Something flickered in his expression. Amusement? Disappointment? "Ms. Chen, I'm offering you a job, not a relationship." "Good, because I don't mix business and personal." "Neither do I." "Then we understand each other." "Perfectly." I stood, extended my hand. "See you Monday, Mr. Pierce." He shook it. His grip was firm, confident. "Call me Alexander. We're going to be working very closely together. Formality will get tedious." "Then call me Maya." "See you Monday, Maya." The first week, Monday morning, 7:45 a.m. I walked into Pierce Industries wearing my best power suit, black Armani, heels that added 3 inches, hair in a sleek bun. If I was going to be COO, I was going to look like one. Jennifer met me at the elevator. "Good morning, Ms. Chen. Your office is ready. I'll give you a tour." My office was on the 49th floor, corner suite. Not as large as Alexander's, but impressive. Glass walls overlooking the city, modern desk, conference table, everything I needed. "Mr. Pierce has scheduled your first executive meeting for 9 a.m., Jennifer said. "Leadership team. He wants to introduce you." "Who's on the leadership team?" "CFO David Huang, CMO Rachel Morrison, CTO James Park, General Counsel Lisa Torres, and Head of HR Patricia Sullivan." Patricia, the woman who'd rejected me 2 weeks ago. And this was going to be interesting. 9 a.m., the executive meeting. The conference room went silent when I walked in. 5 executives, all staring. Patricia's face went pale. Alexander stood at the head of the table. "Everyone, this is Maya Chen, our new Chief Operating Officer. Maya, you know everyone from your interview." The irony wasn't lost on anyone. "Maya will be overseeing all operational divisions," Alexander continued. "Report directly to her on day-to-day execution. She has full authority to make operational decisions." David, the CFO, spoke first. "No offense, but isn't she a bit young for COO?" "I'm 28, I said calmly. Same age Alexander was when he founded this company. Age isn't relevant. Results are. Rachel, the CMO, smiled slightly. Fair point. Alexander gestured for me to sit beside him. Maya, why don't you share your initial observations? I'd spent the weekend reviewing every document Jennifer had sent. Financial reports, operational metrics, market analysis. You're hemorrhaging money in Asian operations, I said directly. Logistics costs are 40% higher than they should be. You're using outdated distribution channels. Your vendor contracts haven't been renegotiated in 3 years. And your market entry strategy in Southeast Asia is fundamentally flawed. Silence. James, the CTO, leaned back. Those are bold claims for someone who's been here less than an hour. They're not claims, they're facts. Your Q3 reports show it clearly. And you think you can fix this? I know I can. I've done it before for companies twice this size. David frowned. What's your timeline? 6 months. I'll have Asian operations profitable and logistics costs down 30%. That's impossible. It's ambitious, not impossible. Alexander was watching me, silent, letting me handle it. I'll need full cooperation from all divisions, I continued. And I'll need authority to make changes without waiting for committee approval. Patricia finally spoke. That's a lot of power for someone so new. I'm not new to operations. I'm new to this company. There's a difference. Still, Patricia. Alexander's voice cut through. Maya has my full support. If she needs resources, provide them. If she needs authority, she has it. Are we clear? Patricia's jaw tightened. Crystal. The meeting continued for another hour. I laid out my 90-day plan, identified quick wins, set expectations. By the time it ended, I'd either earned their respect or their resentment. Probably both. 2 p.m., the first clash. I was reviewing vendor contracts when Alexander appeared in my doorway. Got a minute? Sure. He closed the door, sat across from me. That was aggressive this morning. Was it wrong? No, but you made enemies. I made it clear I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to get results. Patricia is already complaining to HR. Let her. Everything I said was factual. She's saying you're difficult to work with. I'm direct. People who can't handle directness call it difficult. He leaned back, studying me. You don't care what people think of you. I care what you think. You're my boss. The rest of them, they'll respect results or they won't. Either way, I'm doing my job. You're aware you report to me? Not the other way around. Of course. Then why do I feel like you're running this company? I smiled. Because you hired me too. Isn't that what a COO does? He shook his head, but I caught the hint of a smile. You're going to be trouble. You hired me for that too. He stood, walked to the door, turned back. Dinner, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. We need to discuss the Asian strategy in detail. We can do that here. The walls have ears, and I prefer discussing sensitive business over good food. Is this a work dinner or a date? It's whatever you're comfortable with it being. Work dinner? Then it's a work dinner. I'll have Jennifer send you the restaurant details. He left. I stared at the closed door. That was not a work dinner invitation. That was Alexander Pierce testing boundaries. And I had no idea what game he was playing. The Wednesday. The vendor meeting. I'd scheduled meetings with our 3 largest Asian logistics vendors. All 3 had been gouging us for years. Inflated prices, hidden fees, no accountability. The first meeting was at 10 a.m. Chen Logistics, run by Thomas Chen. No relation despite the shared last name. He walked in expecting the usual corporate pushover. He got me instead. Mr. Chen, thank you for coming. Let's discuss your contract. Of course, we've had an excellent relationship with Pierce Industries. You've been overcharging us by 35% compared to market rates. He blinked. I'm sorry? I slid a comparison analysis across the table. Your rates versus 3 competitors. Same routes, same volume. You're significantly higher. Well, we provide premium service. You provide standard service at premium prices. That ends now. I'm renegotiating. You can either match market rates or we move to another vendor. Ms. Chen, we have a contract, which expires in 60 days, and which I'm not renewing under current terms. Thomas's friendly demeanor evaporated. You're new here. Maybe you don't understand how these relationships work. I understand perfectly. You've been taking advantage of poor oversight. That's over. New rates or we're done. Your choice. He stood. I'll need to discuss this with my team. You have 48 hours. After that, I'm signing with your competitor. He left. Angry. Good. By end of day, I'd renegotiated all 3 vendors. Estimated annual savings, $12 million. I sent Alexander a summary email at 6 p.m. His response came at 6:03 p.m. Impressive. See you tomorrow at 7. Thursday, the dinner. The restaurant was Le Bernardin, a Michelin 3-star, one of the most expensive restaurants in New York. I arrived at 6:58 p.m. wearing a black dress, professional but elegant. Alexander was already there, in a dark suit, no tie. He looked different. Less CEO, more human. You're early, he said as I sat. You're earlier. I own the company. I'm always early. The sommelier appeared. Alexander ordered wine without looking at the menu. Some French vintage I'd never heard of. So, he said once we were alone, 12 million in savings on your 3rd day. That's impressive even for you. Thomas Chen was robbing you blind. The other 2 were almost as bad. I'm aware. I've known for 6 months. I paused. Then why didn't you do anything about it? I was waiting to see if anyone on my team would notice, or care enough to do something about it. And? No one did. Not until you. The wine arrived. He poured. This is really just a work dinner? I asked. Do you want it to be? I told you. I don't mix business and personal. And I told you I don't either. But we're not in the office right now. We're discussing business. Are we? He leaned back. Tell me something, Maya. Why did you really take this job? Because it's an incredible opportunity. That's the professional answer. What's the real one? I sipped the wine. It was extraordinary. Probably cost more per glass than my weekly grocery budget. Because I'm tired of being underestimated. I'm tired of watching less qualified people get opportunities I deserve. This job, it's proof that I belong at this level. You need proof? Don't you? Your entire company is proof you belong. That you're not just another rich kid playing businessman. Something shifted in his expression. You really don't know my story, do you? I know the Wikipedia version. Parents died. You built this company from nothing. The Wikipedia version leaves out a lot. Like what? He refilled both our glasses. My parents died when I was 22. Car accident. They left debts. Medical bills from my mother's cancer treatment. I inherited negative net worth. I didn't know that. Most people don't. I worked 80-hour weeks for 3 years. Lived in a studio apartment with 4 roommates. Ate ramen. The glamorous startup story they write about in Forbes. It was hell. But you made it. I did. And every single day, someone assumes I had it easy. That I got lucky. That I don't deserve what I built. I understood. Finally understood. So when I called you privileged in that elevator, you reminded me that no matter what I accomplish, people will always assume I didn't earn it. Just like you've spent your entire career fighting assumptions about what a 28-year-old woman can do. We're more alike than I thought. That's why I hired you. I saw myself in that elevator, angry, frustrated, tired of fighting. The waiter brought our first course. We talked for 3 hours about business, about ambition, about the isolation that comes with being underestimated your entire life. By the time dessert arrived, I'd forgotten this was supposed to be a work dinner. "Can I ask you something?" Alexander said. "Go ahead." "The condition you set, about this being strictly professional." "Yes?" "Were you setting a boundary for me, or for yourself?" I met his eyes. Dark, unintense, interested. Both. "Because you're attracted to me." It wasn't a question. Because attraction is irrelevant. I worked too hard to get here to risk it for an office romance. What if it's not an office romance? What if it's just romance? You're my boss. I'm your partner. You said it yourself. COO means we're equals. We're not equals. You own the company. And you run it. That's as equal as it gets. I put down my fork. "Alexander, I'm not asking for anything. I'm just being honest. I'm attracted to you. I think you're brilliant and fascinating, and you challenge me in ways no one else does. But if you want this to stay professional, I'll respect that." "I do." "Then it will." He signaled for the check. We left the restaurant. His driver pulled up. "Let me give you a ride home." "I can take the subway." "Maya, it's 10 p.m. Let me do this one thing." I relented. In the car, we sat in silence. The tension between us was palpable. When we reached my building in Queens, he walked me to the door. "Thank you for dinner," I said. "Thank you for the conversation." He stood there, looking at me, like he wanted to say something else. "Alexander." "I know. Professional. I'm going. See you tomorrow." He walked back to the car. I went inside and tried to convince myself I'd made the right choice. The chemistry. 3 weeks into the job, I'd transformed Pierce Industries' operations, renegotiated 15 vendor contracts, restructured the Asian division, implemented new logistics systems, cut operational costs by $20 million annualized. The board was impressed. Alexander was complicated. We worked together 12 hours a day. Strategy sessions, executive meetings, planning calls, and every single meeting crackled with unspoken tension. "The Shanghai office is underperforming," I said during our Monday morning review. "I want to send someone there, someone who can rebuild from the ground up." "Who did you have in mind?" "Me?" He looked up from his laptop. "You want to go to Shanghai?" "For 3 weeks. Get operations sorted personally. I can't fix it from here." "When would you leave?" "Next Monday." "That's fast. The longer we wait, the more money we lose." He closed his laptop. "Fine, but I'm coming with you." "That's not necessary." "It's my company. It's absolutely necessary." "Alexander, I can handle—" "I'm sure you can, but Shanghai is important, and I want to be there." I recognized the look in his eyes. This wasn't about business. This is a bad idea." "Which part?" "You, me, Shanghai. 3 weeks, alone." "We won't be alone. We'll have staff, meetings, full schedules. You know what I mean." He stood, walked around his desk, leaned against it, close enough that I could smell his cologne. "Maya, I've respected your boundaries. I haven't pushed, but we can't keep pretending this tension doesn't exist." "We can. We're professionals. We're professionals who spend 12 hours a day together, who finish each other's sentences, who understand each other better than anyone else in this building. That's respect, not attraction. It's both." I stood, created distance. "Even if you're right, and I'm not saying you are, it doesn't matter. I'm not risking my career for this." "For what?" "You won't even say it." "For whatever this is. For the possibility of something that would compromise everything I've worked for." Or it could be the best thing that ever happened to you. Or it could blow up spectacularly and destroy both our professional reputations. That's fear talking. That's reality talking. His jaw tightened. Fine, Shanghai, professional trip, nothing else. Thank you. But Maya? He caught my arm gently as I headed for the door. Eventually, you're going to have to stop running. I'm not running. I'm being smart. There's a difference between smart and scared. I pulled my arm free, left his office. He was wrong. I wasn't scared. I was terrified. Shanghai, week 1. We arrived in Shanghai on a Tuesday. Separate hotel rooms, on different floors, very professional. The Shanghai office was worse than I'd expected. Disorganized, poorly managed, a bleeding money. I spent the first 3 days in back-to-back meetings, restructuring, firing underperformers, hiring new talent. Alexander handled investor relations and client meetings. We barely saw each other during the day. But every night at 9 p.m., we'd debrief over dinner. Chen Logistics is furious about the new contract, he said Wednesday night. We were at a small restaurant near the Bund. Thomas called me personally. Let him be furious. He'll take the deal. He can't afford to lose our business. You're very confident. I'm very right, he smiled. You usually are. Usually? I said usually, not always. Name one time I was wrong. Shanghai timing. You wanted to wait until next quarter. I said next month would be ideal. You pushed for immediate. And I was right. And another month and we'd have lost Chen Logistics entirely to the competitor. I paused. He had a point. Fine, you were right once. I'm keeping score. That's one for me. This isn't a competition. Everything with you is a competition. He wasn't wrong about that either. Thursday night, we had dinner with potential Chinese investors. High stakes, critical relationships. I'd prepared extensively. Research on each investor, their portfolios, their interests. The dinner went perfectly. I impressed them with my Mandarin and my understanding of Chinese market dynamics. Afterward, in the car back to the hotel, Alexander was quiet. What? I asked. You were incredible tonight. Just doing my job. No, you exceeded it. They loved you. Li Wei actually said he'd invest based solely on how you handled the negotiations. He's exaggerating. He's not. Maya, do you have any idea how good you are at this? I looked out the window at Shanghai's glittering skyline. I know I'm competent. You're not competent. You're exceptional. And the fact that you don't see that, that makes you even more valuable. Something in his voice made me turn. He was looking at me with an intensity that had nothing to do with business. Alexander, I know. Professional. I'm just proud of you. Is that allowed? That's allowed. The car pulled up to the hotel. We rode the elevator in silence. His floor was first, 32nd. The elevator stopped. He didn't get out. Alexander, this is your floor. I know. The doors started to close. He hit the button to keep them open. What are you doing? Being honest, I can't keep pretending I only think of you as a colleague. These past 3 weeks have been the best professional weeks of my life, and the most frustrating personal ones. We've been through this. I know your rules. I know your boundaries. But Maya, answer me honestly. Do you feel nothing? I should have said no. I should have lied. Instead, I told the truth. It doesn't matter what I feel. It matters what's smart. That's not an answer. The elevator alarm beeped. Door held too long. Good night, Alexander. He stepped out. The doors closed. I rode up to the 45th floor, alone. Friday night, the crisis. At 11 p.m., my phone rang. Alexander. We have a problem. Can you come to my room? I hesitated. What kind of problem? The Shanghai office. I just got a call from James. Major security breach. Someone leaked our expansion plans to competitors. I grabbed my laptop, took the elevator down to 32. His suite was massive. Living room, full bar, view of the entire city. He was at the dining table, laptop open, on a call. I understand. Yes. Lock down all files. I want a full audit by morning. He hung up, looked at me. How bad? I asked. Bad. Our entire Southeast Asian expansion strategy. Leaked to Chen Logistics and 2 other competitors. That's everything we've been working on. I know. Someone on our team sold us out. I sat down, started pulling up files. Who has access to these documents? Executive team. You, me, David, Rachel, James. It can't be Rachel or James. They've been with you for years. That leaves David. Or Patricia. He paused. Patricia's HR. And she wouldn't have access. She has access to everything through the HR system. Personnel files, financial records. She could have pieced it together. We spent the next 3 hours investigating, cross-referencing file access, tracking digital footprints. At 2 a.m., we found it. Patricia had accessed the expansion files 47 times over the past month, downloaded them, sent encrypted emails to an external address. She's been selling information, I said. Probably to Thomas Chen. He's been trying to rebuild his relationship after I cut his contract. Alexander's expression darkened. I trusted her. I didn't. She's hated me since day one. This might be revenge. Or greed. Probably both. He called legal. Woke up Lisa Torres at 2:30 a.m. Shanghai time. I want her arrested. Corporate espionage. Breach of fiduciary duty. Everything. While he was on the phone, I made coffee in his suite's kitchenette. Handed him a cup when he finished the call. Legal is handling it. Police will pick her up Monday morning. What about the leak? The competitors have our strategy. We change it. Pivot. You're good at that. I laughed despite the situation. You want me to redesign our entire Southeast Asian expansion in 1 week? You redesigned our logistics in 3 days. I have faith. We sat there, exhausted, wired on coffee and adrenaline. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For being here, for catching this, for everything. It's my job. It's more than that. The tension was back, thick, undeniable. Alexander, I know, I'm not going to do anything, but I need you to know, working with you these past 3 weeks, it's been the highlight of my career. And not just because you're brilliant at your job. Don't. I'm not asking for anything. I just need to say it. Once. And then I'll never bring it up again. Say what? That I'm falling for you. And it terrifies me. Because I've never mixed business with personal. I've never let anyone get close. But you're different. My heart was racing. This is a terrible idea. I know. We work together. I know. It could destroy everything. I know. Then why say it? Because pretending is killing me. And I think it's killing you too. He was right. I was exhausted from the effort of pretending I didn't think about him constantly. That I didn't notice how he looked at me. That I didn't want exactly what he was offering. What if it doesn't work? I whispered. What if it does? He stood, walked to where I sat, held out his hand. One night, just tonight, we can figure out tomorrow. Tomorrow. I looked at his hand, looked at him, and made a choice that would change everything. I took his hand. He pulled me to my feet, close. Are you sure? No, but I'm tired of being scared. He smiled, touched my face gently. For the record, you've never scared me. You've only made me braver. He kissed me, and for the first time in 3 weeks, I stopped running. The aftermath. I woke up at 6 a.m. to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows. Alexander's suite, Alexander's bed, Alexander beside me, still asleep. For a moment, I just watched him, without the CEO armor, without the intensity. He looked younger, almost vulnerable. Then reality crashed in. I'd slept with my boss. I'd broken every rule I'd set for myself. I slipped out of bed, found my clothes, started getting dressed as quietly as possible. "Running already?" His voice, awake, amused. I turned. He was propped on one elbow, watching me. "I need to get back to my room. People will talk if... Maya, it's 6 a.m. on a Saturday, no one's watching." "You don't know that." He sat up. "Come here." "Alexander, please." I walked back to the bed, sat on the edge. He touched my face. "Are you regretting last night?" "I don't know yet." "Fair enough, but for the record, I don't regret a second of it. You're not the one who could lose credibility. You're the CEO. I'm the woman who slept with her boss to get ahead. That's not what happened. That's what people will say. Then we don't tell anyone." I laughed bitterly. "We can't hide this. The way you look at me, the way I look at you, people will know." "So, what if they do? You earned your position. Your results speak for themselves." "That won't matter. The narrative will be, young woman sleeps her way to COO. He pulled me closer. "Then we make sure your results are so exceptional no one can question them." "That's not how the world works. It's how we'll make it work." I wanted to believe him, but I'd spent my entire career fighting assumptions. Why, this would just add fuel to the fire. "We need rules," I said. "Such as?" "At work, we're professionals. No different than before. No touching. No private meetings without business justification." "Agreed." "Outside work. We figure it out as we go." "Can I take you to dinner? Publicly?" "In New York, yes. Here in Shanghai, it's too complicated." "When we get back to New York, then." I smiled despite myself. "You're very confident this is going to work." "I'm confident you're worth the risk. The rest, we'll figure out together." My phone buzzed. Message from James, our CTO. "Maya, Patricia's been arrested. NY police picked her up an hour ago. She's being charged with corporate espionage and theft of trade secrets." "Well done." I showed Alexander. "One problem solved," he said. "Not several more to go." "Such as?" "Rebuilding our Southeast Asian strategy, hiring a new HR head, and convincing you that dating me won't destroy your career. 2 out of 3 of those are easy." "Which one's hard?" "You know which one." He kissed my forehead. "Go, get ready. We have meetings at 10. "Alexander, we'll figure it out, Maya. I promise." Monday. The new strategy. By Monday, I'd redesigned our entire Southeast Asian expansion. Instead of the aggressive multi-market approach, I proposed a focused strategy. Thailand first. Dominate that market. Then expand. I presented it to the executive team via video call. Alexander beside me. David, the CFO, was skeptical. "This is a significant deviation from our original plan." "The original plan was compromised," I said. "Our competitors know it. If we proceed, we're walking into a war we can't win. This approach is smarter, lower risk, higher ROI." Rachel, the CMO, nodded. "I like it. Thailand is underserved. We could own that market in 18 months. "Exactly," I said. "And once we dominate Thailand, we use that foothold to expand into Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. By the time competitors react, we're entrenched." James agreed. Even David came around. The vote was unanimous. After the call, Alexander turned to me. "Brilliant, as always. It's risky. So were you. Best risk I ever took." We were alone in the conference room. He reached for my hand. I pulled back. "Not at work." "Right. Sorry." Don't apologize. Just, we have to be careful. I know. But the way he looked at me said careful was going to be very, very difficult. Tuesday, the jealousy. Chen Logistics sent a new representative to negotiate. A woman named Jessica Lin, mid-30s. Beautiful, sophisticated, and very interested in Alexander. The meeting was supposed to be about finalizing the revised contract. Instead, Jessica spent half the time asking Alexander about his expansion plans, his vision for the company, his personal interests. I watched him deflect, politely, professionally, but I also saw how she looked at him, like he was prey. After the meeting, she handed him her business card. If you need any additional consulting on the Chinese market, I'm available, anytime. Her smile was predatory. Thank you, Alexander said. Maya handles all our Asian operations. If we need consulting, she'll reach out. Jessica's eyes slid to me. Dismissive. Of course. She left. I turned to Alexander. She wants you. I'm aware. And nothing. I'm not interested. She's beautiful, sophisticated, successful. So are you, but you're also brilliant, challenging, and you don't bore me after 5 minutes. I tried not to smile. That was blatant flirting. Was it? I thought it was stating facts. We're at work. Fine. After work, I'll state those facts again. In detail. Heat flushed through me. Stop. Make me. Alexander? Ms. Chen? Mr. Pierce? Jennifer appeared in the doorway. Your 2 p.m. is here. We snapped back to professional mode instantly. But later, when I checked my phone, there was a message from him. Dinner tonight. My place. I'll cook. You cook? Badly, but you'll forgive me because the company will be excellent. I smiled. Typed back. 8 p.m. Don't burn anything. Wednesday, the confession. Now Alexander's apartment was a penthouse in Pudong. Glass walls, minimalist design, view of the entire Bund. He answered the door in jeans and a t-shirt. No CEO armor. Just him. You're early. I'm exactly on time. Come in. The apartment smelled like garlic and something burning. What are you making? Attempting pasta. Emphasis on attempting. I laughed. Followed him to the kitchen. He was right. He was a terrible cook. But watching him try. Sleeves rolled up, focused concentration, completely out of his element, was endearing. Here. I took over. You chop vegetables. I'll handle the rest. We cooked together, talked, laughed. It felt normal, easy, like we'd been doing this for years instead of days. Over dinner, pasta that I'd saved from disaster, he opened up about his parents, how they'd believed in him when no one else did, how their deaths had nearly destroyed him. I almost gave up, he admitted. After they died, the debt was overwhelming. I was 22. I didn't know how to run a business. What changed? Anger. I was so angry at the world for taking them, for leaving me alone. I channeled that into the company, worked 80-hour weeks, proved everyone wrong who said I'd fail. You did more than prove them wrong. You built an empire. I built a company. An empire sounds lonely. Is it? Lonely? He met my eyes. It was, until recently. My heart did something complicated. Alexander, I know this is fast. I know it's risky. But Maya, I haven't felt this way about anyone in maybe ever. You challenge me, you match me, you make me want to be better. You're already... I'm a workaholic who uses success to avoid dealing with emotions. You make me want to actually feel things. That terrifies me. But it also thrills me. I reached across the table, took his hand. I'm scared too. I've spent my entire life focused on career, on proving myself. I don't know how to balance that with this. We'll figure it out together. What if we can't? Then we'll fail spectacularly and at least have an interesting story. I laughed. That's your business strategy? That's my life strategy. Take risks, learn from failures, keep moving forward. And if this destroys everything we've built professionally, it won't, because we're both too stubborn to let it. He stood, walked around the table, pulled me to my feet. Dance with me. There's no music. He pulled out his phone. Jazz started playing. Something slow, intimate. We swayed together in his penthouse, and the city glittering below us. I'm falling for you, I whispered. Good, because I'm already gone. He kissed me, and I stopped being scared. Thursday, the return. We flew back to New York on Thursday, separate seats, professional distance, but when his hand brushed mine as we boarded, the electricity was undeniable. Jennifer picked us up at JFK. Welcome back. The board meeting is tomorrow at 10 a.m. They want a full report on Shanghai. We're ready, I said. Alexander's phone rang. He answered, listened. His expression darkened. I understand. Thank you for calling. He hung up. That was Lisa. Patricia's lawyer is claiming the charges are retaliation for her questioning your hiring. She's threatening a lawsuit. Let her try, I said. We have evidence, digital trails, encrypted emails. She sold company secrets. Her lawyer is arguing you fabricated evidence because she opposed your appointment. That's insane. It's a narrative. True or not, it could damage both of us. Jennifer was listening, trying to pretend she wasn't. I caught Alexander's eye. This was exactly what I'd been afraid of. Professional complications bleeding into personal drama. We fight it, I said firmly. With facts, with evidence. We don't negotiate with extortion. Agreed. But I saw the worry in his eyes. This was just the beginning. The board meeting. Friday morning. 10 a.m. Pierce Industries boardroom. 12 board members. All men except 2. Alexander at the head. Me beside him. I presented the Shanghai results. The restructuring. The new Southeast Asian strategy. The $20 million in savings. Impressive numbers. Undeniable success. But then Richard Caldwell, the oldest board member, spoke. These results are impressive, Ms. Chen. However, we have concerns. What concerns? Patricia Sullivan's lawsuit names both you and Mr. Pierce. She's alleging improper conduct, favoritism, possible fraud. Patricia was caught selling company secrets, I said evenly. Her lawsuit is retaliation. Nevertheless, the optics are concerning. A young woman hired directly into a C-suite position by a CEO known for unconventional decisions. My hiring was based on merit, I said. My results prove that. Do they? Or do they prove that Mr. Pierce provided you with resources and authority that others in your position wouldn't receive? Alexander's jaw tightened. Maya has exceeded every metric we set. With respect, Mr. Pierce, that's not the point. The point is perception. Shareholders are concerned, particularly given recent developments. He slid a folder across the table. Photos of Alexander and me in Shanghai, entering his hotel suite together, leaving together in the morning. My stomach dropped. Someone followed you, Richard said. Took these photos, sold them to Patricia's legal team. They're planning to use them to argue the hiring was personal rather than professional. Silence. All eyes on us. Is it true? Another board member asked. Are you involved romantically? Alexander didn't hesitate. Yes. Murmurs around the table. But, he continued, that relationship began weeks after Maya was hired. It has no bearing on her qualifications or her results. The timeline doesn't matter, Richard said. What matters is how this looks. A CEO hiring an unqualified candidate because of personal interest. I'm not unqualified, I interrupted, my voice sharp, cold. Richard turned to me. Ms. Chen, I have 5 years at McKinsey. I redesigned this company's operations and saved $20 million in 6 weeks. I renegotiated vendor contracts that no one else bothered to question. I rebuilt an entire expansion strategy after corporate espionage compromised the original. Don't you dare call me unqualified. Your credentials aren't what? Enough? Because I'm 28? Because I'm a woman? Because I'm Asian? Tell me which qualification I'm lacking. Richard's face reddened. This isn't about... It's exactly about that. You want to question my hiring? Question my results instead. Show me one metric where I've failed, one decision that lost money, but one project that underperformed. Silence. You can't, because I haven't failed. I've exceeded every expectation. The only problem here is that you can't accept that a young woman could actually be this good at her job. Alexander was watching me, pride in his eyes. Ms. Chen makes an excellent point, one of the female board members said. Her results are exceptional. The relationship, while complicated, doesn't negate her performance. It compromises objectivity, Richard argued. How can we trust strategic decisions when personal feelings are involved? Every CEO makes decisions influenced by relationships, I shot back. You trust the CFO because he went to Yale with you. You approved the CMO because she's married to your business partner. But somehow, pretending my relationship is the one that compromises objectivity? That's different. How? Explain how it's different. He couldn't. Alexander stood. Gentlemen, ladies, Maya is right. Judge her on results. If you want her removed as COO, vote on it. But make that vote based on performance, not on personal lives that are none of your business. We're not calling for her removal, the female board member said. We're calling for transparency. Then here's transparency, Alexander said. Maya and I are in a relationship. It's serious, and it changes nothing about how this company operates. She has full authority as COO, my support as CEO. And if any of you have a problem with that, there's the door. Silence. Then, slowly, David spoke up via video conference. I'd like to add something. Maya and I haven't always agreed. She's pushy, direct, and doesn't care about people's feelings, but she's also the best operational mind I've ever worked with. In 6 weeks, she's accomplished what our previous COO couldn't do in 2 years. I don't care who she's sleeping with. I care that she's making us money. Rachel chimed in. Agreed. Maya's difficult, but she gets results. That's what matters. Even James nodded. I was skeptical about her age. I'm not anymore. She's earned her position. Richard looked around the table, realized he was losing. Fine, but if this relationship impacts her performance, it won't, I said firmly, because I don't fail at anything. The meeting continued. The board ultimately voted to support my position, but the damage was done. Everyone knew about us now. That evening, the decision, Alexander's office, 6 p.m., just the two of us. If you didn't have to do that, he said. Defend me in front of the board. Yes, I did, because you're right. They were questioning my qualifications based on gender and age, not performance. Still, you put your career on the line. Our careers are already on the line. The photos, Patricia's lawsuit, the board knowing about us. This is exactly what I was afraid of. He walked to the window, looked out at Manhattan. Do you regret it? Us? No, but I'm scared. Of what? Of losing everything I've worked for because people can't separate my relationship from my competence. He turned, crossed to me, took my hands. Maya, listen to me. You are the most competent person I've ever worked with. Man or woman, young or old, you earned this position. And you've proven you deserve it every single day. But now people will always wonder. Let them wonder. You know the truth. I know the truth. And your results speak louder than any gossip. What if the lawsuit goes badly? What if Patricia wins? She won't. We have evidence, digital trails, everything we need. But the narrative. Fuck the narrative. His voice was fierce. I have spent my entire career fighting narratives. Poor kid who shouldn't have succeeded. Young CEO who got lucky. Every step of the way, people doubted me, and I proved them wrong. You'll do the same. I don't know if I'm strong enough. You stood up to a boardroom full of men who wanted to dismiss you. You called out their bias to their faces. You defended your position with facts. Maya, you're the strongest person I know. Tears threatened. I blinked them back. This is harder than I thought it would be. I know, but we're doing it together. What if it doesn't work? What if we can't balance the professional and personal? Then we'll fail, and we'll learn, and we'll try again. That's what we do. He pulled me close, kissed my forehead. I'm not going anywhere. Are you? I thought about it, really thought about it, about giving up, walking away, protecting my career. And I realized I didn't want to. Because Alexander was right. We were doing this together. No, I said, I'm not going anywhere. Good, because I'm going to need you when Patricia's lawyer tries to destroy us both. We'll destroy them first. He laughed. That's my COO. 3 months later, the victory. Patricia's lawsuit collapsed. The evidence was overwhelming. Digital trails, encrypted emails, Mata financial transfers. She'd been selling secrets for 6 months to 3 different competitors for over $400,000. The judge threw out the case. Patricia went to prison for 3 years. Thomas Chen's company lost the Pierce Industries contract entirely, went bankrupt within 6 months. And Pierce Industries? We dominated the Thailand market, expanded into Vietnam, posted record profits. The board stopped questioning my hiring because my results were undeniable. Alexander and I, we went public, officially, attended galas together, industry events, press photographed us. Forbes did a feature, the power couple reshaping corporate America. Some people still whispered, still assumed I'd slept my way to the top. But most people recognized the truth. I'd earned every dollar, every promotion, every success. And the relationship? It made us both better. Alexander became more empathetic, more willing to listen, more willing to admit when he was wrong. I became more willing to trust, to let someone in, to believe that success and love weren't mutually exclusive. 1 year later, the proposal. We were in his penthouse, the same one where we'd had our first real date, cooking together, laughing, comfortable. I have something for you, he said after dinner. It's not my birthday. I know, but I wanted to give you this anyway. He handed me a small box. Inside, a key. Is this to this apartment? I want you to move in. Alexander, I know it's fast, but Maya, I wake up every morning wishing you were here. I come home every night wishing you were waiting. I want this to be our home, not just mine. I looked at the key, at him, at the life we'd built. Yes, I'll move in, but only if you promise to let me redecorate. Your minimalist aesthetic is depressing. He laughed, pulled me close. Deal. But Maya? Yes? One more thing. He pulled out another box, smaller, opened it. A ring. I know it's fast. I know people will say it's too soon, but I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Marry me. Be my partner in business and life. I stared at the ring, at him, thought about everything we'd overcome, everything we'd built. People will say I married you for your money. People will say a lot of things. Do you care? No? Then what's your answer? I took the ring. slid it on my finger. Yes, but on one condition. Name it. Prenup. I'm not marrying you for your money, and I want that in writing. He laughed. Done. Anything else? Equal partnership. One in business and marriage. Always. He kissed me, and I realized I'd gotten everything I ever wanted. Not because I slept with a billionaire, but because I'd earned it. And then I'd been brave enough to let someone in. 5 years later, Pierce Industries was worth $10 billion. I was still COO, still transforming operations, still proving doubters wrong. Alexander was still CEO, still building his empire. But now we did it together, as partners, as equals. We'd had 2 kids, a daughter named Caroline after his mother, a son named James after mine. I'd been on the cover of Fortune, the woman who revolutionized corporate operations, not the woman who married a billionaire. My results spoke for themselves, and when people asked how we balanced it all, career, marriage, parenthood, I told them the truth. We don't balance, and we integrate. We support each other. We challenge each other. We make each other better. Sometimes I thought back to that elevator, that moment when I'd told off a CEO, that moment that changed everything. And I was grateful, not for the money, not for the position, but for the courage to speak up, to demand what I deserved, and to accept love when it found me. Because the best things in life, they come to those who aren't afraid to take risks. And I'd never been afraid of anything. The end. Subscribe so you do not miss my next story. Thank you.